This content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by Draper Goren Holm or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever.
Hey everyone, it is me. We are here. Joseph is here too. Say hi, Joseph.
Hey, what's up?
Boom, boom, boom. We're recording.
Good morning, everyone. Hey everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey everyone.
Hey, everyone.
I am recording this on the computer now.
Hey everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hey everyone. Hey everyone.
Boom. All right. It says it's recording. Boom, 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 boom. I am apparently recording.
The entire bottle of control. They're all exactly the same.
Crypto art, and then what it really is an NFT.
Wow.
Eddie wants to slap the bag.
So this is the next best thing.
DeFi is going to be a bubble.
It's provably scarce.
With Mad Dog.
Crypto, gold, and silver.
Transparent substance.
Take my money, start a war with it.
Without further ado.
Cheers to you, brother.
Get shit on.
Because the system has to collapse before that.
My Corona.
Cheers. I feel much better now.
Cheers.
Wow, that was heavy.
Boom. Welcome to Blockchain and Booze number 153. Johnny, Jay-Z, great to have you join us. We were backstage right before we went live, waiting for Johnny, so I'm stoked.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries.
I got a call from my accountants like last minute and was telling me,
You gotta
shit,
pick those up.
yeah, I know. So I was trying to rush in and come up. Sorry for being late.
No worries, you're right on time. For everyone who is on one of the streams, I'll do a bit of my homework right now. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching through Lunar Crush, if you're watching through, I like this one better. If you're watching through any of the streams, you can go and hit up blockchainbooze.io if you want. It'll redirect you to the DGH events website. And if you do that, you will be able to chat with the community and talk to them while we're having this conversation. And while you're watching this, and I'll monitor that if you have any questions or thoughts along the way. Otherwise, see you. Thank you for joining us, and see you on one of those streams. And this is going to be a fun one. I think we're going to talk about tokenizing real world assets, real estate tokenization, and the space in general. So I wanted to bring back Mohsin because of the real estate topic. I know he was just on recently. So I was joking with him backstage that we're like an episode away from him just being co-host. But I'm also excited to have Johnny, and Jake. Johnny, do you go by Jay-Z or Johnny? What's better?
Yeah, my full name is Johnney Zhang, so people call me Jay-Z, and there's more people been calling me Jay-Z right now, so I go by both. I mean, my family calls me Johnny.
Well, we have the cooler of the Jay-Z's you've ever met on today, and this is gonna be fun. I think this is gonna be great. By the way, I'm seeing all the folks that are in Southern California, making me jealous. So people are talking about snow and hail in Hermosa Beach right now. If you're from Southern California, it's like mind blowing. Some of that in Temecula and in San Diego, I'm seeing in the chat. I'm a little north of you guys, and every city around me has had that bit of snow and hail except for where I am, and I'm getting some major FOMO. Like the mountains look like I'm in Denver, but I got none of it here, so I'm a little bummed. David, give me a thumbs up if you want to come on the screen. Are you're backstage here? Yeah. Okay, David from DGH hopping on the screen with us right now. What's up, dude?
Hey, sorry I'm behind schedule.
Oh, no worries. So we're about to. So I'd like to, for Johnny, Jay-Z, and for Jake, it's your first time here, and so let's go down. And then Mohsin, I'm gonna have you reintroduce yourself also for any new folks watching. But let's start with you, John, at the top. I interrupted your sip. I'm sorry. Introduce yourself and tell us about HomeWise and what brought you into the space. We'll come back around and I'll throw out some questions. But for now, the high level, tell us how you got here. this crazy world?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have a background in real estate. I was a real estate agent for a while for eXp Realty, a cloud-based brokerage. And I just saw how segmented and fee-ridden the mortgage processes for homeowners. And I love the Web3 space. And I saw that there's a lot of opportunity for investors out there for commercial and residential properties in the tokenized space, but there's not a lot of solutions for homeowners. So we took a bottom-up approach at HomeWise to kind of figure out how to best suit the homeowners as well in the process. So essentially what we did is we did a bottom-up approach and saw what their expenses were, what our expenses needed to be a profitable company at the end of the day, and what the back-end investors, which would be like a mortgage-backed security alternative that would be tokenized, would need to get a return on in order to make it a viable product on the back end as well. So at the end of the day, our homeowner customers are going to be getting a 20 to 37% lower monthly payment compared to a traditional mortgage, and our back end mortgage-backed security alternative back-end investors are going to be getting a 4.8 to 5.3% annualized return given historic averages. So yeah, it's all around like a replacement ecosystem for the mortgage-backed securities and mortgages.
Wow.
But yeah, it's
So if
definitely for homeowners.
That's awesome. So if you are a homeowner, you can essentially refinance with HomeWise, and then the community, the people who invest into these securities on HomeWise are essentially your lender.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's debt-free home ownership, and you can refinance with us, but it's debt-free home ownership, and it's basically a co-investor model where investors share in the property appreciation and cash flows, and then the homeowners just happen to get a much lower monthly payment. And with that, they can do with it what they will, invest it, save it, and they get a lower monthly payment, and they also get a really cool app where they can store their equity on and move from home to home with us. A lifetime home passport.
That's pretty cool. We're gonna have to dive into that because it still sounds to me like debt. So saying debt free sounds weird, but I want to learn more. But let everyone jump in and introduce themselves. Why don't we? Let's do it. We'll go Mohsin next because then I feel like I'm going in a circle. Otherwise, I'm bouncing around and it's breaking my brain. Mohsin, you're muted.
Sorry, I was saying, all right, if you want me to go next, I'm not going to complain. My name is Mohsin Masud. I'm the founder and CEO for Accrue. Accrue is a platform for fractional real estate investing. We use blockchain as the underlying tech to power our processes and our systems and to utilize it for the efficiencies that it brings in. We enable folks to invest in private placements in the form of security tokens in commercial real estate, and they get to pick and choose every single asset that they want to invest in. And not only do they get quarterly distributions, but they also have a secondary market where they're able to buy, sell, and trade these. And we've done that through our proprietary multi-token architecture.
And so far on Accrue, you have to be an accredited investor to participate. Someone actually asked, with HomeWise, do you have to be an accredited investor to participate in the investing side of it?
Yeah, we're an early stage startup. Eventually, you won't have to be accredited, but at first, it'll be VC backed. So yeah, it'll be a Reg D offering.
Yeah, so that's the fun part, right? We're into this 5 years, and we're still a accredited investor with the hope that eventually we'll open it up to retail investors.
Yeah. You add a lot of road. Yeah, it's a long road, and for people behind the scenes asking why not now, there's just a lot of extra compliance and legal that goes into it. Having to do things through certain types of brokers or becoming one of them yourselves, and it's not a super fun process for anyone to get there. But I think that once it happens, there are a few places where unaccredited investors can invest in real estate online. They're few and far between because it is a tough process. I think the first group in our space, like the tokenized stuff, to get enough volume and get enough liquidity and things going, and it's going to be really fun to bring in outsiders. But let's keep going on the intros. Let's go now, Jake. Tradecraft Capital, tell us a little about your background and what brought you here.
Yeah, sure. I run Tradecraft Capital. We're a crypto hedge fund. I'm here at Hedge Week. We're going to go ahead and have a digital assets summit here. I'm in New York. Normally I'm in Austin, but Yeah, so we run a crypto hedge fund. We're looking to invest in all types of crypto assets, and we look at any type of security token we will look at as well. Most of our stuff has to do with autonomous operations and investing in tokens that will help facilitate any type of movement towards that. So I've also worked with the Southern California Real Estate Association and Commercial Real Estate Association, but with Tradecraft, we're mostly just dealing with security tokens and other crypto assets that we'll invest. And so, go ahead.
Very cool. So you're are you tokenizing the like initial offering of these deals, or is it like taking existing real estate like assets and then tokenizing them?
No, we would look to invest in them. We would look into invest in
okay.
assets after, yeah.
Oh, nice. So you're coming into it from the perspective of investing in already tokenized assets. And,
yeah, that's right.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good. Okay, that'll be a fun angle of questions.
Jake, we should talk offline, irrespective, and talk about a partnership on that front.
We have
see qualified purchaser.
I think there's some interesting partnerships just on screen already, so that's going to be fun. Because I was already thinking of how HomeWise and Accrue could connect, and now we're going to see how Johnney Jay-Z connects to the whole crew here. So Jay-Z, give us your background and USPC and what you're working on.
Sure. Yeah. So my background is real estate. I'm being a real estate developer, asset manager for the last decade. And my primary company, Premier, currently manage over $2 billion worth of real estate. We do a lot of developments in Southern California, and they're managed asset overseas as well. So both the U.S. and overseas. And they're I own a broker dealer as well. So it's an investment bank I bought in 2019. So I've been involved with both real estate and finance. And I came to this tokenization of real estate. So when I realized that all the token on the crypto exchange, people are trading all shit. People are being trading shit, getting scammed, on this Wild West. I was like, hey, someone have to come up with something that's more reliable. I looked around, I couldn't find any legitimate, asset-backed token. I was like, okay, shit, I'm gonna create one myself. Obviously, I'm a real estate native. I love real estate. I was like, okay, real estate is the best asset in the world. I'm gonna create a real estate-backed token. So the goal is to let retail investors or also credit investor to be able to invest in real estate to fight inflation, as we know inflation is pretty bad. Last few years, when you have 9% inflation, your share rate increases by 2%. You're getting fucked. So also obviously the blockchain is really good. It allows the shares. If you tokenize a share of a real estate, it allows for 24/7 trading, self-custody decentralization. And 24/7 trading, just a lot better than traditional stocks. So I always think tokenization is the next generation of evolution of a stock. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this for a real estate. I like real estate. So I created this USPC called United States Property Coins, basically a collection of real estate, portfolio of real estate. We're tokenizing the share of a corporation. So anybody buys USPC, essentially they're buying a share, a common share of a corporation that owns a real estate. People ask me if it's REITs. I'm like, yeah, sort of. It's similar to a REITs, like because you're buying fractional ownership of a real estate portfolio, right? But instead of getting stock certificates, you really can't do anything with it. Now you have a token. Now you can trade it peer to peer. You can trade it anywhere in the world. So basically, just make more real estate, private real estate, more accessible to the people around the world, not just U.S. citizens, also foreign investors, and also is more liquid, right? Because it's trading 24/7.
And do you have a place where you can disclose that whole portfolio? So you don't do individual tokens per deal. You have one token.
It's a whole portfolio.
So,
yes. So again, because we're security talking about everything you can come up with securities. Back to what the other two speakers says, we can only sell to credit investor in the U.S. for now, but we can sell to foreign investors, non-U.S. investor. We don't have to verify their credit or not because that's not required on the Reg S exemptions. We're also working on with Reg A as well. So once we have Reg A approved, now we sell to non-crediting real estate investor, in the US. That's going to take about 6 months to get approved. So
and where is it? Where can it be traded in that 24/7?
Okay, so obviously the token is compatible to ERC20, so you can trade it just like under MetaMask, right? You can just do that peer to peer.
Wait,
also,
so once I let's assume I'm an accredited investor. I'm not sure if I am, but I know that I'm through my business. I'm a qualified my business is right, but those rules are so complicated, man. But and I can dive into them because I used to build platforms to verify these things. But regardless, let's say I'm an accredited investor and I buy the token. The way you have it set right now, I could take those tokens and transact with them as I want once I have them. Like if I don't know that it can't be sold to an accredited investor or it shouldn't or whatever, I can.
You don't have to know it.
Do a deal.
We know it.
Well, but do you know? Can I just create a pool on Uniswap myself once I have the token? Kind of like USDC. What I'm trying to think is it like a USDC type of model where it's almost like a stable coin? Because to mint USDC, you have to be verified. You have to go through the certain process. But once David has USDC and I have USDC, we could be on opposite ends of a trade together, and neither of us actually connected with Circle and minted that USDC. Is that how you run that token? Or do I have to somehow whitelist David to do the deal?
No, technically wise, I can do it, but legally we can't do it because USDC is backed by fiat currency. So therefore, they're not deemed as security, right? So we are a security. Being a security, there's a few laws we have to comply. One being I have to KYC everyone, because again, the law requires to know who our shareholders are. That means if I mint token for you, say you invest in $1 million, company give you 1 million shares, right? You're my shareholder, you hold 1 million shares in the form of USPC. Now, I have to know who you are, and when you transact to somebody else, I have to know who the recipients are as well. So everybody has to be KYC'd with us, and there's no public, place you can get KYC. And everyone can do the same data.
I assumed so, and I was hoping that I knew the answer to that question, but I wanted to clarify for the public and also clarify for my own due diligence, because what happens is when something is a security for everyone who's watching, right? There's certain rules and laws, right? Especially as two US citizens working together, especially. But one of the problems with security tokens, but then using the term immutable or security token on Ethereum, people have this idea that and this stemmed from the first security tokens on Ethereum, like Spice VC, which we know them very well. Ami was one of the founders of, or Blockchain Capital. We've had those founders on here before. They were the first security tokens that really existed. And people thought, oh, I'm going to buy this Blockchain Capital security token. And then once I have it in my MetaMask, like Jay-Z was saying, I could just do deals and transfer it and whatever. And that doesn't really exist. And it's also legally the issuer of that token. Because I'm saying this because I know so many of the people that are in our chat. By the way, if you want to hang out with that crew, go to blockchainboost.io. It'll take you there. It'll redirect. But I wanted to go into the nitty gritty for a second because you get the benefits of it being digital. You don't necessarily get the normal benefits of an immutable blockchain token because legally they can't do that. Like the issuer of a token will have to have some kind of admin that can burn tokens. If, for example, David, I keep using David as an example. This time I'm going to use him as a scammer. Let's say David scams me out of my USPC tokens. USPC will have to be able to burn those tokens and reissue them for me. Or if I transfer them the wrong way, so if I lose access to my wallet, they have to be able to do that. And that's kind of, on one hand, it's the antithesis of crypto, immutable, whatever, but it saves you from some of the worst parts of crypto too, because some of the best parts are the worst parts, depending on how you tilt your head. So I just wanted it to be clear that it's a security token, which means it's security. It'll be able to trade on some exchanges. I'm assuming there just aren't very many security token exchanges yet that are very active, but that's changing, right? When you look at HomeWise, Accrue, USPC, and then on the other side, you have Jake, who's investing in security tokens, as more quality deals come to the table and quality investors come to the table, there's going to be more liquidity. And all of a sudden, I think it's going to be one of those gradually, then all of a sudden, like, holy crap, it went from no volume to like real exchanges. And I see that happening behind the scenes. So I'm really excited. We didn't get to David. David, introduce yourself really quick to the crew. And give more than normal, because I know, you should talk about yourself a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, David Shadrake. Very tempted to make a joke about being a scammer now, Alon. But yeah, I had a fintech startup in my 20s, and been in biz dev roles in a couple other startup companies after that. Joined DGH over the last year, and grateful to all of you guys for joining us today. Real estate and tokenization of real world assets is very interesting to me. Grew up around a lot of real estate and stock market stuff. So
payments, you did a lot of payment rails stuff too, right?
Yeah. So we were building a computerized credit card in 2012. The startup was called Omni Mobile Payments. And then I did some work with Spot On more recently, San Francisco.
Awesome. So somebody just mentioned in the chat, I think it was Crispin. Hold on, let me look. He just I don't remember what exactly he was talking about, but he just said restricted security sales, minimum 1 year lockup. HomeWise, Accrue, Jay-Z, is that the case with you guys? I think Jay-Z did comes up that is restricted for a year.
Yes. So that comes to why we have to basically customize our smart token standard. We can't use the ERC20 because, again, once I sold it to you, I can't restrict you from selling it to anybody else, right? You can sell it anonymously. I can't do that with security tokens. So we have to came out with a customized smart contracts to make sure not only you can only send it to the recipient that's already KYC with us. We know who they are. They have to check against AML list, make sure they're check against documented laundry list. We also have to make sure we put the restrictions on you. Say if you're a credit investor, you definitely are, go the Reg D offering. You cannot sell to a non-credit investor up to 12 months. And after 90 days, you can sell to other credit investor. And I have to be able to do that. So what we did is we came out with a smart contract. I'm able to log, say, it's all common stock, it's all the same type of USPC, but I can actually separate them by tranches. So these Reg D tranches I created, I sold it to you. You cannot sell to nobody after 12 months, no credit investor after 12 months. After 90 days, you can sell to other credit investors peer-to-peer on exchange. On the Reg S, the rule is once I sell to foreign investors, they cannot sell back to US for 12 months. So I need to make sure those Reg S funds cannot be sent back to US citizens. So that's why I have to KYC everybody. So I can make sure that criteria is being checked before the transaction happens.
Another example outside of the KYC verification and stuff requirements, that what I think will happen over time, like today, one of you guys has some background noise. So there we go. That was David. How dare you, David? So anyway, for example, where I'm going with this thought, and I'm gonna actually. I think the next one's going to go to Jake. There are certain restrictions that we have to deal with, right? Some of them are accredited investor that we're used to talking about on here, so I'm not going to dive in. But this restriction is, okay, now you have to sell to an accredited investor. There's certain rules and laws around once you sell a security, what you can do with it after 90 days, what you can do with it after 12 months, and it's kind of up to the issuer of the security, or if it's running through a bank, for the bank to deal with those cumbersome requirements. But they're not that cumbersome once technology is in place that enforces it. They're just basic, if this and that kind of rules. And I think that's part of what can make digitizing these things over time, make them much more efficient. Also, these rules are why there's going to be about a 12-month delay in any kind of meaningful liquidity from the time when there's a meaningful set of actual tokenized assets here, right?
So I disagree.
Okay,
Alon. And I'll say that based on what we see on the Accrue platform. So taking further what Jay-Z said, Accrue is limited to accredited investors only for a reason, because we operate under very specific no action letters and exemptions, which allows for our secondary market to be operative, where people are able to trade right after 90 days. So there's still that 90-day cool-off period after the initial offering closes, but there's a whole marketplace where people are able to buy, sell, and trade on platform. So it's not like you got to go find a separate buyer yourself. And having that active marketplace enables faster liquidity. So, for instance, there's different ways of looking at the amount of liquidity there is in the secondary market, right? Yeah. Traditionally, people look at the volume of trades, the amount of dollars being traded. The way that we like to look at it is how quickly can someone get liquidity if they're trying to sell a certain token, or if they're trying to sell their membership interest unit in the underlying asset. On the Accrue platform, the average trade or over the last year, every trade has settled in less than 8 hours. From a real estate transactional perspective, that is extremely, extremely liquid, right? So don't look at it from a crypto transaction perspective, but from a real estate transaction perspective, if I can sell my investment in a real estate deal in 8 hours and have the cash in my bank account and move on to either another investment or to use the funds elsewhere, that's lightning fast. And that's what we've been able to do, right? So, yes, you have.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, from the perspective of someone who either buys a fraction of a property or wants to buy a fraction of a property from someone who already purchased one, right? Can I place an offer for whatever price I want for a fraction of a property on your site? And
that's exactly what I was.
Can I do it in advance of that 90 days so that like it's sitting there waiting for that moment for Mohsin to get past the 90-day mark, and then he goes, "Ooh, that offer is waiting right there. That I can liquidate." Or
yeah. So unfortunately, no, you can't do it before the 90-day mark. The secondary market is completely it has to be non-existent before that 90-day mark, and only after that point is when it starts up. The unique piece about Accrue secondary market is the fact that you're able to negotiate on the pricing that you want to buy, sell, and trade, or you want to trade your tokens.
Is that a private conversation, or does it have to kind of be public for all people who hold that?
Nope.
Because what I'm getting at is if I think it's per offering, right? Like, so per building, if I want to buy a fraction of a building, I say I'm willing to buy one of these for 10% less than what everyone paid for it, 10% more, whatever I decide, I can put that as like an offer. But then every person who has a fraction of one of those things gets notified, right?
Yeah. So if you're a bid-ask matching service, which is what a traditional ATS is, that's exactly how it would work, right? It would have to be public, or everyone within that listing that's there would do it. On the Accrue platform, once the secondary market's active, you can put an open offer out. However, that's not how all the trading takes. And it's up to people if they want to accept that or they want to reject that, or if they want to counter back to you and say, "Hey, I'll sell you my token if you want to buy it not for $1,200, but for $1,500." And the actual trade, the trade value is not made public, because we want to ensure that's the value of the underlying asset that reflects the value of the tokens, and not the other way around. That the trading somehow or the other does a bull run or
about some building, or for somebody to play any game.
Absolutely. And for that reason,
I'm not going to put Jay-Z on there. David is the resident scammer. He's going to call me up and be like, "Bro, give me an offer for overpriced," and then we'll run up the price of the thing, and we'll dump all our. That's what you're trying to avoid in those situations. Right?
Absolutely, that's absolutely right. And then we're providing quarterly price, market price guidance and price updates and valuation updates on every asset on the platform, so that people know where the value of their investment stands. And that's constantly updated, and it's based on the data that we're getting in from each asset in the form of their rent rolls, their income, their vacancy levels, and their expenses and whatnot. And the beauty of the platform is that we actually plug in to majority of the property management softwares, and because we do that.
Okay, I don't want to dive quite into the property management software and getting to the details yet. I think we might get there, but I had this thought and question for Jake, but then I think I'm going to modify it a little, because kind of going on what you're saying, what I've seen on real estate crowdfunding sites in the past, and then now on real estate tokenization sites. I'm excited to kind of see this with HomeWise also, because I like the kind of individual mortgage side of things too, because it feels like you're helping directly to people, which I like that idea also. So this is super fun to get into the nitty gritty. But what I've seen in the past is there's a big gamut. Like I think the tokenization side of things, there's like details to the point almost of TMI, but it's a good thing when you want to put money into a deal that you have all the information available to you. And then in the early days of in the early days of crowdfunding, where the first initial crowdfunding sites for real estate, there wasn't enough information, and none of the yields and none of the things seemed legit. And it turned out most of them weren't. So Jake, coming in from the perspective of an investor, is that kind of online data and that verification super important? Do you still have to kind of do due diligence to make sure it's reported correctly? Are you finding it's accurate on most platforms? Like where's the data come from, like for due diligence for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's mostly available there. So it's been really good. And so, yeah, just being able to have liquidity for, something that has been a private equity or a private asset, and just to be able to have a secondary market helps so much, because liquidity has really been the problem, and fractionalization, just to be able to, invest in something that you weren't available to because it wasn't fractionalized, wasn't broken up, and then to be able to have a marketplace to buy and sell those assets. So yeah, very good.
Yeah. So, well, previous to this kind of thing, right, for somebody to do what you're doing, like I assume that when you're talking about fractionalizing, when you're talking about like the access and the data, you're putting together your own portfolio with a fraction of some of these real estate deals, a fraction of some of these, and you're basically getting to diversify, but choosing your own adventure with diversifying, right? Like you get to manage and choose that, versus in the past, if I wanted a certain type of real estate portfolio, I'd have to call up Mohsin and be like, Mohsin, do you know a REIT that does these kind of deals that I want to do? And then I have to trust the manager that they're doing the kind of deals that I want, because I can't buy, 10% of one building here and 5% of one building there, and and manage it myself. Is that kind of I don't know exactly what I was getting at. Where my thought was kind of like, is that how you guys run the business, or do you guys it's just interesting to me, like, is how you guys pick and choose? Is that the way you like it, or do you go for the larger already existing big portfolios and bring them on board, or a combo of both?
Okay, I can answer the question.
Yeah, I like from Jay-Z's perspective, but I also because I know, Jay-Z, you're building that REIT, right? You're building that portfolio. I guess also, are you doing the whole buildings yourself, or are you taking portions? But then I want to know from Jake, because I look at it like today with information, right? Because where I was getting at with information, I was thinking about it through the lens of startups. We have investors that are investors in our fund, but more and more every day, investors, even ones who are institutional, even ones who invest in funds, want to do direct investments into startups more and more, because I think there's just more insight and more info available, and they can, again, choose their own adventure and pick and choose which ones they'll double down on and which ones they want access to. So where I'm getting at is from that real estate side, from the security token side, how much of the portfolio goes to buying portions of portfolios, or buying direct investments into deals, and they might be fractionalized direct.
It's more about direct investments. So, we'll do stuff like there's a company that's a startup that we'll be investing in. They're going to do their Seed Plus round through Securitize, different platform, but then we're able to invest in that startup, and those security tokens will be, on a different platform,
It'll go to T0 or to Open Finance. I'm not sure exists anymore. I don't remember. But one of the platforms.
This is securitized, but then we're able to get into this seed investment, and then they're able to have some better liquidity than before, where
before
capital
the way I do it on paper, I wait 10 years.
Yeah, it's 10 or 11 years. It used to be 7 years or something like that, and now it's taking 11, 12 years to get any type of liquidity in venture capital. So even if you were on the angel list in the olden days, I did a bunch of investments on angel lists, and I'm still waiting. Yeah, yes, they're alive. Yes, I've got a decacorn on angel list, right? But I can't do anything until some sort of liquidity event happens, right? Whether they're sold to a strategic or IPO'd or whatever. So it's such a pain. It's such a pain. I think really the VC market.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The VC market's been really screwed up by a lot of other regulation that has companies don't go public anymore because they wait until they're at least $10 billion. It used to be they would go public maybe when they were $500 million or something, and then but now it's just taking so much longer to go public because there's so much more regulation to deal with that people don't want to go public. So this is helping just create liquidity where it's really backed up now. So
I think people
having private assets available on a secondary market is key.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that people be really surprised by and don't know is that when companies are private, right? Even big, huge companies like Facebook was private for a very, very long time. The very tail end, before they went public, there was a bit of a market for buying Facebook stock only because the rules and governance of the Facebook company allowed for it in certain ways, in certain situations, but again, only for accredited investors, and it was on paper. And so some people were selling shares of Facebook or buying shares of Facebook from old employees or early investors and things like that. But you could only do it through certain groups like Forge or Second Market or whichever versions of those exist today, Shares Post. But you would also have to have like a minimum $100,000 investment. You'd have to be accredited. You have to do paperwork. And it would take you a few weeks, usually, if you're lucky, and you found a price that you like, and to deal with a middleman and do a deal like that. What's the kind of things that Jake is talking about is, imagine being a Facebook investor when nobody knows who Facebook is yet. And then instead of waiting, 10, 15 years for that time and moment where you can sell it, or do the crazy backflips of jumping through these crazy hoops with middlemen, broker dealers, and bankers who could negotiate these deals and take a big cut of it. And not just that, but take a ton of time to do. You don't have to do it, or wait till they go public and finally get your exit. So what Jake is talking about is buying, the company early, not waiting 10 years, or waiting 10 years if you want, but in the meantime, having that minimum, just the peace of mind, but also the opportunity to go, you know what, I've locked in a 10X or something, and go, why don't I sell a portion of it, let the rest ride? Or maybe in your own personal life, you decide, time to buy a house, it's time to do this or that or whatever, and you have that available. Or in general, just that piece of paper that in the decacorn that you have, when a bank looks at that, they probably don't even consider it an asset that you own. So if you went to go buy a home or something, you'd be like, I have this piece of paper worth $100 million. And they could be like, so what? We're not going to give you the loan or something, right?
Yeah.
And it's liquid.
I get. Yep. So we're definitely making progress.
Yeah. think about what I'll say to the audience, and then I jump into more of these thoughts and questions for the group. But think about it kind of like DeFi liquidity. In DeFi, it's crazy. It's a wild west. It's up and down and whatever. But you have your Bitcoin or you have your ETH or you have your Tesla. So you have an asset. There's a dollar value for it this moment. And there's probably 100 different websites you could go to borrow against that in like 10 seconds if you wanted to. You can't do that with real estate. You can't do that when you own a legit startup, but you can do it with like ApeCoin. It's like mind blowing, and it doesn't make sense from the perspective of like, you know, there's a physical building, there's a Starbucks in it, there's a whatever. And the bank will tell you exactly how much it's worth, but they won't, you know, give you, you know, let you borrow against it, let you deal with it in the same way, you know, that we can deal with it. That's where the technology is going to bridge this gap over time.
So the fun part is, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but
no, go.
Accru's launching its margin trading with a traditional financial institution providing up to 50% of your equity in the form of debt, where you're able to borrow all the way up to 50% of the equity that you have in any deal. So that building with a Starbucks that's there on the Accru platform right now called the Blue Sky Shops.
I use that. Whoa, is there a building with a Starbucks on Accru right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
My example for real estate crowdfunding. So my example for real estate crowdfunding, and I want to get to HomeWise also, but this is cool because I didn't know that was public yet and that you were doing that yet.
Yep.
I always would say to people when they were trying to do crowdfunding for startups on the internet versus crowdfunding for real estate, I always said crowdfunding for real estate is going to take off much sooner, because I would use the example of my mom you know, if my mom sees an ad on Facebook for invest in John's startup, she might go, oh, that looks neat, or probably not look at it, but she doesn't know John. Right? Unless it's my startup and she knows, oh, I'll invest in my son maybe. But if she doesn't know John, she doesn't know startups. My mom's not a startup investor, 0% chance. She's a Hebrew school teacher, right? Retired. She's not investing in a startup on the internet. But you put in front of that same person and her friend, the Starbucks building that she walks every morning with her friend Judy to buy her Starbucks at every single day. And you put that on the website and say, buy $1,000 piece of that building. That's an ad that can actually convert. Right? Like that's something that could actually convert to a retired person. And if you can't sell it on the internet, it's going to be really hard to crowdfund for. And so I always use that as the example, the building with the Starbucks. So I wasn't doing it to promote Accru, even though I love promoting Accru. That's pretty great. So people will, if I have a certain portfolio on Accru, I'll be able to borrow up to a percentage of the value of that real estate portfolio directly on Accru.
Directly on Accru with a few clicks. You know, your payments are going to be quarterly in line with the distributions, because Accru only deals with you know, stabilized assets, and it pays out its distributions quarterly. And most importantly, it's interest only borrowing on real estate, which is phenomenal. Now the rates are, you know, SOFR plus 1 or 2. For those of you who don't know what SOFR is, you know, it's like LIBOR or the London interbank rate, or the simple overnight borrowing rate from a bank.
So it's like whatever, like the standard rate plus plus 1 or 2, whatever.
Yeah, 30 days SOFR plus 2 is what the rate is, what they're going to be offering. So about, in today's day and age, about 6.5 to 7% is
so I could borrow, I could buy real estate. I could be taking the quarterly distributions on that real estate, but I can also, if I decide to buy a new piece of real estate or I need money for something else, I can borrow against it. Can I pay it back anytime, or is there?
You can pay it back anytime. There's no prepayment. There's no prepayment. There's no real term, right? It's like margin trading for securities, where you're borrowing against your security. It's like credit card debt. It's perpetual essentially, and over a period of time, you continue to borrow, or you pay it back, and you have the ability to borrow again as and when you want. So that's another instant liquidity solution that's coming up on the platform.
Nice. That's really, really cool. I like that, because to me, like the holy grail, like what I always say about DeFi, I always throw my hands up, like the DeFi, and there's security tokens, right? And one's the Wild West, and one is super conservative, and there's regulation, and there's all this stuff. And I always hope that we use the DeFi type of technology and the digitization to streamline the process of that, you know, of all of those regs. But also, I think, you know, as much as I want DeFi to be the future and for everything to kind of burn to the ground and everyone to be able to trade and be decentralized and do all those things that the utopia I want to live in, I know that this world is going to exist pretty much forever. But what I want is for two things to happen: for the security token world to take that technology and make it more usable and make it better for us all, but also for DeFi to scare the crap out of the banks so that the banks have to compete with DeFi. And it bothers me that in my home, I can't take that equity that I have without calling. I know that I can call up a banker. I could shop it around. I could get a loan and get or a line of credit or something against my home. Yep. But like I can go to one of, even not the DeFi protocols, one of 100 centralized places, deposit my Bitcoin and instantly borrow against it. Like instantly. I don't mean 48 hours. I mean like now, like this moment I can, and that bothers me so much that like there's a million ways to value my home. And I know that I could borrow against it, but why does it have to take like a minimum of a week or 2 weeks? Yep. Like just bonkers. I want to go to John and talk about HomeWise for a minute, because I did give him I pushed back a little bit when you said the debt-free comment. Mm-hmm. I would love to learn more about how that works, because that sounds really cool to me. So we can give everyone a recap if you joined late. I want to see if I understood it correctly, because it's fun and you correct me. But on HomeWise, if you're a homeowner, you can go and borrow against your home or refinance through HomeWise and get some great rates, sub what you probably would through a bank or comparable. I don't want to say something that might not be, Lee can't say it, but probably or could be potentially lower. But then also the people there's actual individuals who back these loans or back these properties through HomeWise, and they earn a higher interest rate for sure than you would just keeping your money in your bank account or investing in other types of products. Did I understand it correctly?
Yeah, essentially that's what we do. But also it's not a loan. It's literally tokenizing. Well, we're not tokenizing yet, but once we do, tokenizing the whole asset, and then the home investors will then own the rest of the property that the homeowners don't. And the value of the token, which will be similar to how Jay-Z is operating with his corporation, and it's a portfolio of homes or real estate assets, will have a portfolio in our ecosystem, and that'll be tokenized, and the investors in the homes will get a return based on a portion of the appreciation of the homes and a portion of the cash flows of the homes.
Oh, that's really cool.
And there's actually a really interesting company that is doing their Series A right now on those crowdfunding platforms, and they're in the UK, and it's a really cool use case, not for crypto, but for essentially how we're operating, but on a lesser scale. It's called Way Home, and they do the same thing, except they don't help out the homeowners as much. They more help them get into homes, and then they charge kind of the same type of rent fees, and that's how the home investors do it, get their return. But they also their home investor right now is mainly a pension fund. So it's out there, and it's similar to what we're doing, but we'll just be doing the tokenized version and more profitable and affordable for homeowners.
That's really cool. And will people, in like the average person who comes and wants to participate from the investment kind of side, they shop on it on a per home basis and they back the homes they like, or do they do it across the board, or is there a combo of the two, or an option?
Yeah, that'll be TBD. I mean, we're going to be right up against mortgage-backed securities. Like that's what I most closely compare our back-end product to, even though we're, annualized over the last 10 years, mortgage-backed security index has been about like 0.7 annualized per year. So we'll be much, much higher than that. But that's like the closest thing, since it is home ownership. So yeah, it's that's what we're going up against basically, and on our back end.
So you guys are doing co-ownership. That means investors participate in the upside on the sale of an asset as well. Or is it?
Yeah, see, once it's on chain, we really don't ever want to take it off chain. We want it to be under our umbrella constantly. We'll list it for sale and hope to get another homeowner in there and, you know, keep the appreciation going. But yeah, if it benefits the back end users, or if, you know, the person that wants to buy it doesn't want to become a HomeWise user, then yeah, we would sell the home, and they would, you know, the appreciation and everything from that sale would go into the fund or corporation that the token holders would get the benefit from.
That's really cool.
Interesting.
Very neat. So guys, we're getting to the last 5 minutes, and I know we've talked about a lot of things, dove into a lot. I wanted to make sure, because today, normally I go over time a little bit, but today I have a hard out, unfortunately, so I have to kind of wrap things up. But I'd like to kind of go around to make sure everyone gives a little plug of what they want to do. But before we do that, I know we've been kind of focused on the real estate side of things, but I want to know, Jake, so for the rest of you, think of the plugs you want to make and any specific thing you want to mention. But Jake, on your end, you kind of run the gamut. It sounds like you go from startups and all sorts of private equity to real estate. Is there a type of deal, type of thing that you're looking for specifically, or looking at right now that you'd like to tell the community if they have that kind of deal or interesting thing to shoot your way? I'd be interested in hearing kind of the spread.
I mean,
of
this is a smaller part of our portfolio. Most of our portfolio is focused on liquid crypto assets. So this is just a diversification part of a liquid crypto hedge fund. So we're just using these alternative assets to diversify a little bit of a portfolio that's really more focused on liquid crypto assets.
And those liquid crypto assets, are you mostly focused on, you know, like the top 10, or you run the gamut? Like
no, we're focused on medium term, more like probably top, 20 to 200. So we're looking at protocols and platforms totally different than what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Then we should probably do like I want to do another episode. I haven't plugged them enough with Lunar Crush. This is their OG logo. But we should do a Lunar Crush more focused token episode, because I love having the ones where we kind of talk about trading and rebalancing, things like that, because I'm not a token trader. I'm an early stage investor and I stink at token trading, but I'm so intrigued by it. And I love, hearing, because people who do it, right, the professionals they do their due diligence and they know a lot about these tokens and individual things. And you tend to learn a lot about the communities and about these tokens that the average person doesn't talk about, because they're just on Twitter talking about, Wenmoon or whatever, right? But I want to actually know the real businesses and what's actually going on here.
That's all in Discord. Discord, but this isn't that one.
Everybody's laughing. I went almost a whole hour without. I did mention the Lunar Crush live stream, but
that's not your usual Lunar Crush.
No, I usually find all sorts of ways to incorporate them into the conversation. But we're focused on security tokens. So soon, though, because if you think about it, Lunar Crush went from just tokens to then NFTs, now stocks. When are we going to start having these security token insights and data? I know, right? We're gonna have to put Lunar Crush in a bit of a headlock and say when are we gonna get the insights? We do need that.
Especially when all trading data is on chain, so it's easy for them to get all that information too.
Yeah, but what we need is beyond the trading, right? We want the social data and the community data and that stuff to be mixed in, so then we can really know where the buzz is and what's going on. And there's some cool stuff. So let's quit. Before we finish, why don't we go the opposite of the way we came on the beginning? Jay-Z, give us a plug. Where can we find more info about USPC?
Oh, okay, great. Thanks. USPC, you can find USPC information on uspc.io. It's pretty simple, uspc.io. And then we're actually live as of today. It's our first day. We went
Oh,
live.
congratulations!
Buy it.
We
Thank
should have
you.
led
Yeah,
with
anybody
that.
can actually buy it. Yeah, just go to the website. You'll find the invest button. You go create account, KYC, and then get a credit investor validation through a third party. Then you can invest. If you're foreigners, you don't have to go through that part. Just KYC, you can start buying it. We take a fiat currency, you can do a wire transfer, you can take crypto like USDT or USDC. And once you buy it, you can have in your wallet, you can withdraw it in your wallet, you can deposit any exchange, foreign exchange, if you want to sell them. But you can buy them today. And we do have a really good explainer video on the homepage, so anyone can go there and see it. I also do want to mention we have a survey running. Is ending in end of June. So anybody who go to the survey, take like 3 minutes to complete the survey, help us give more feedback, and we're giving out the Tesla Model 3 as a top prize, and their Maldives trip for 2. Give out Amazon gift card. I mean, there's like 5 different tiers of prizes. So just anybody interested, go to survey.uspc.io. You can just fill this out. Take you 3 minutes.
Come on, crew. If somebody that is in the blockchain and booze community isn't the one that wins the Model 3, I'm going to be very disappointed. So let's see what happens. Congratulations, Jay-Z, on the launch today. Thank you. Where can we find info on Tradecraft Capital, Jake? Where's the best place?
I think the most thing I'd rather plug is my second book. Coming out in any Barnes & Noble, one of your stores, so that's what I would want to plug.
Give us the name of it again, because you cut out for a split second there.
It's the second book is called Crypto Decrypt.
Nice. Crypto Decrypt.
The second book is called Crypto Decrypted. Crypto
Decrypted. All right, that's awesome.
Yes.
I got to get a copy of that. It's on. You said it's on Barnes & Noble. Is it on Amazon too?
Any place. Comes out in May.
Okay, I'm gonna. Cool. I'm literally making sure I pre-order it right now. Crypto Decrypted, Amazon. All right, I'm pre-ordering it right now. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Then we definitely have to have you back to discuss it when it comes out. Mohsin, give your Accrue plug. You have it right there, accrue.co. But anything else?
Yep. Yeah, anyone who wants to go check out all the offerings, including the Starbucks or the Chipotle or the Sports Clip corporate location, whether you cut your hair or eat your food or go for your coffee, and a whole bunch of other great properties across the country, go to accrue.co. This is not investment advice, blah, 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 the entire disclosure.
I did it at the beginning.
Yeah, you did. but you should definitely go check out accrue.co for investing in real estate, starting at $1,000 and having liquidity enabled within 90 days.
Oh, good. That was a question somebody had. So a minimum is $1,000 investment?
Yep, that's correct.
Awesome. And John, HomeWise, what's the... HomeWise.io. Anywhere else you should point people to?
Yeah, I mean, we're raising right now. So if you're an investor, shoot me an email, john@homewise.io. And if you're a homeowner that is interested, get on there and sign up for early access, and we'll let you know when the app's released in May.
Awesome. Then you have to come back too when the app's released. Excited to hear about it. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. David, give a little. You got a little plug, or where people can follow you on Twitter?
A plug. You can find me on LinkedIn. I appreciate it. I don't think I have anything to plug other than Draper Goren Home, and I am quite enthusiastic about everybody's venture, and I'm looking forward to your book, Jake.
Yeah, very cool. I like that this was like a lot of launches here. I feel like the homes that are on HomeWise, I feel like there could be some kind of connection with Accrue. I feel like they could all fit into the USPC portfolio, and Jake should invest in all of it. And we can all be reading our books, Jake's book, and working on it together, right? So I think there's a lot of synergies here. And between the book launch, USPC launching today, HomeWise launching in May, Mohsin dropping the info that you're going to be able to borrow against your assets there. There were a lot of news here. Did you publicly announce that yet, Mohsin? Or is that just a blockchain and booze exclusive?
That's a blockchain and booze exclusive.
All right.
It's not public yet.
See, that's why you have to be an hour into watching to find out these things.
Absolutely.
Nobody else knows. I'm excited for that. We're going to have to talk about that a lot too coming up. All right, guys. Thank you so much. It was great seeing you all. If you are somebody watching on one of the streams, go to blockchainbooze.io if you want to turn on your camera right now and hang with the community. I have to run to another meeting, but I might come back to the community in a little bit if you're there. Thank you so much, everyone. Blockchainbooze.io. So put up the link again.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Take care,
Thanks.
everyone.